What up, Nikki? Been a while, man, since we've done a video, but this is a video that I'm doing under good circumstances. I've got a Save to Kill all fired up here on Kong, and I wanted to just give you a little bit more direction with the work order that I wanted to basically just be a really good shot to prolong this game's life and to potentially do badges in the future and everything. So, you know, we're working on the thumbnail right now, and I'd said, like, in the top right hand corner, it might make more sense. I think I said I wanted it to say something along the lines of like new content added or something like that. Maybe we just, in bigger letters, you know, really bold letters in like the upper right hand corner of this thumbnail, say like just a one word updated. Because I don't know if you've seen on Kong, but I did lose my big hot new games feature, which is fine. They cycle in new games a lot. So now I still am on the front page, or you know, but I'm on the best games of the month list, and the thumbnail is quite small. So I think if we really wanted to attract players, I think it'd be easier if we just had, you know, in the upper right hand corner, maybe just the word update, or maybe updated, I think would probably be better, in big bold letters, and pretty big on the upper right hand corner of the screen of this new thumbnail, just because I want players that go to the front page see a different thumbnail for it, and then see, you know, they might see a different thumbnail or a different picture of a game, and they might think it might be a different game at first, and they're like, oh, it's that Save to Kill game that I played before. Oh, wait, it says updated in the corner, and then they go and they click on it and then play, and then see all the nice updates that we're about to make here. So now, unfortunately, with this software, as you probably remember, I can't capture my my Windows screen. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to probably like scan some pictures, and then I'll be sending them to you. Basically, the art that I want for this is, and you can see my mouse cursor here, is we need a new button. I'm going to rearrange these buttons as necessary. And then the new mode that I'm going to be doing is this endless mode. And also, since we're here, I'm going to be using this background as well. It's just a very standard space background. I wish I had money to do a completely different background, because this one was a little small to begin with, and it is blown up quite big. I think it should be fine. I want to run this background really, really fast. I have actually a couple of really good ideas for like 2 new backgrounds that I want to do, but I just don't have the money right now. I mean, we'll just, you know, we'll see how popular this first update is, and, you know, if we end up getting hundreds of thousands of views and stuff out of it and badges, I definitely would be interested in that. But yeah, I'm going to be using this background, and that's good for your reference for the button. You know, that's one thing we'll need. As you can see where my mouse cursor is, I'm going to rearrange these buttons, and we'll need a button for this level. So, I mean, however you wanted to do the picture, I mean, it's a real basic blue star, you know, spaceship or a space background. So we need that button, and then of course we need all 3 of our animations for the button. We need blacked out, we need regular, and then we need hovered. And on top of the button, what also we need for this mode is a set of stars, and I'm going to draw you a picture of this. I want them to be a silhouette. There'll be how many will there be? There'll be 6 different animations for these stars, because I want the player to have a ranking. And you see where the boss button is? In place of the boss button, underneath this will be their star ranking. So you can use that as a guideline for how wide I want the star actor or button to be. It's not going to even be a button, it's just going to be a doodad. And we'll do 3 stars on the top and then 2 stars on the bottom. 5-star will be the best that a player can get, and then and as they start unlocking it, you know, and progressing through the endless mode, they won't reach a checkpoint by any means, but they'll best their high score, and there'll be a score running all the time, and I'll probably have that score above the button where my mouse cursor is, you know, above the button, and then below it will be this star rating, and it'll have it'll have 6 different animations. The first animation will be completely blacked out. It'll be 5 blacked out stars, and then the first animation will be, 4 blacked out stars and 1 golden star, and so forth. Two golden stars, 3 blacked out, 3 golden stars, 2 blacked out, 4 stars, and then I think that they can all be static, except I think the last one I would like to be kind of animated. When someone gets a full 5-star ranking, maybe we'll have that one have just a little bit of animation. It doesn't have to be crazy, just a little bit of animation in it, just to give it a little bit of flair. So when someone gets that 5-star ranking, they'll be able to, that'll definitely be where all the high scores are. They'll post a real nice high score on the scoreboard. I'm going to get that all situated, and then they'll be able to, every single time they come into the vortex, they'll see their current high score, and then they'll see their nice stars below it. Be a good thing for completionists. And I think during that mode too, I'm going to have the star actor always on the screen, like next to the HUD, so they can see what their progress is. Now let's go into the game. Another I wanted to do a graphical update as well, and I talked to you about maybe updating some of the color swaps. Now I didn't want to go too crazy with this. Let's just go into the first. I have an upgrade here. We'll go into the first. Actually, you know what? Why don't I switch to mouse control? I don't know if you've tried this yet, but mouse control actually works quite. I got to get rid of this bug. See that little bug right there? I think that has something to do with easement. I got to tweak that a little bit, but the mouse control actually works quite well. Anyway, so as you remember, we did color swaps to add variety, and of course, like everybody, here's one that I definitely want to fix, and of course everybody on Congregate calls me out on it because they complain about everything on Congregate. But I was thinking for the 3 main enemy types, like this guy where my mouse is, excuse me, see if we can get in, and I'm actually working on a new fix too for coin collecting. So when there's the blue one of that guy. And then this guy here, here's our second, or he was actually the first one. He was the first enemy type that you did, the first batch, really. I want to just do it with the very first batch of enemies. That guy, and then wherever the helicopter is. So, okay, here's a good example. So right now, the second one that we did for this guy, this was the normal one, and then this was the color swap, and then you did a blue one as well for this guy. If we could, for this enemy type, the half moon enemy type that I was referring to before, and then the other helicopter enemy type, just those 3 guys, if we could take and just do a little bit of a variation for all of the different color swaps. So the original one can stay exactly the same. So the red one you don't have to do anything to. That's the original enemy. Doesn't need to be unique because it is unique itself. But say we go into this yellow one where my mouse is, and as long as we work it within, of course, like we always do, the same transparency. We don't want to mess with anything as far as the sizes go. But if we were to, and definitely one thing too, we don't want to mess with where the bullets come out of. So when you're doing the shooting or redoing the shooting animation, it's very important that the bullets are exactly where they were. That way I don't have to reconfigure where the bullets come out of. I want this to just be a really quick palette swap. So maybe with this guy, right where my mouse is, maybe add some fangs here, or make this be a little bit more accentuated, or maybe make the fangs come up bigger here, or maybe add just a couple little spikes in here, or maybe you take away some of the rocky texture and maybe make it more armored looking or something to make these guys look not quite just like a color palette swap. We ended up going from the whole end game with the characters, when we did the second batch, it looked like it was basically the jumping off point was okay, take the enemies that we currently have and then make unique or not unique, elite versions. Maybe what we do now is we kind of take the different color swaps and we kind of start to progress them each individually, going towards more elite. So, you know, like the yellow one of that enemy type can have more fangs in the front and more horns in the back. And then maybe, you know, or let me just like, maybe like, you know, these are a little bit bigger, or here, maybe these are a little bit bigger. And then maybe you put like some spikes on the side, and then maybe like you make this rocky texture instead of rocky. Remember how we had always used those terms, rocky or shiny or armored? Maybe you make it armored in there, or something to just really differentiate that. But I don't, like I said, I don't want you killing yourself over this stuff. It's just something that I think will just go a long way, because, you know, some people have definitely told to me like, oh, a bunch of, it's crazy. I think if you actually add up all the amounts of unique enemies in this game, it's a staggering amount. But I think people see that just quick a palette swap or color swap, and they're just like, oh, lazy developer. I mean, you know, I just can't make anybody happy. It seems like, you know, I mean, it boggles my mind that people are just so incapable or unwilling to collect these gems. They're so easy to me. I don't understand what people's deal is as far as the gem collecting goes. But I have a little quick fix for that. And there was the blue one. You know, so the blue one can maybe, I don't know why a helicopter hasn't come out yet. Maybe let's see if I can just get a helicopter real quick and we'll review that one. You know, like the small fry enemies, I'm not really even concerned about them because those are fine. It's just the three main beginning ones, you know, that we had done that I'm really concerned or worried about, you know, changing up. I think it'll, because I think that the later ones, I think that the later enemies, the other swaps that we did for the last 2 levels, those guys have a really good variety to them. So, you know, like with this guy here, maybe like his beak gets like accentuated further down. It's more pointy. Maybe you put like a kind of like a tail in the back. Maybe you put some spikes on the side here. You know, you can maybe, you know, just as long as the bullet stuff is not, you're not messing with where the bullets come out of. I mean, you can make it like a brighter bullet. And I'm going to actually do all new attack patterns for these guys too, just to have some fun with players for the new mode. I could have sworn in this level some helicopters would appear every once in a while. I don't know where the heck they are. But you get the idea. I mean, you know, this is something where you can totally use your judgment. I totally trust whatever you really want to do with it. And like I said, I'm just looking for, you know, something to differentiate. You know, I'm not looking for this to turn into like a huge thing. And then, you know, and then the last thing that I was going to be looking for, hold on, I really am like, now I'm just like kind of curious on why I can't get a helicopter enemy. So I did want to like kind of go over that with you. There we go. Oh my goodness, a helicopter. So then, you know, like with the helicopter guys, maybe like I said, the original green one can stay exactly the same, but maybe this guy, you know, you make this gun thing a little bit like long or wider, or maybe make his tail ends a little bit bigger. Maybe you make his, during his shoot animation, maybe you make his blaster go off a little bit more. Maybe you make his beak a little bit, you know, angled, you know, just some variation. And then that'll give a lot of variety very early in the game, you know, while we're trying to grab people's attention. And then at the end of the game, you know, I don't think it's as big of a deal because there's so much going on the screen anyway. You know, the enemy types are very varied at the end of the game as well. So, and then the other thing that I wanted to do, I was toying around with not doing it, is the hardcore mode. You know, I got some people definitely telling me that they think that the game is too easy. So I am going to do, let's go back to the vortex here. I do want to put like in the upper right hand corner or something a hardcore button. And this can be a button that looks, I would probably say not the size of a level button, but maybe we do the size of our upgrades. And I probably will put that either in the upper right hand corner or maybe even like right here or centered on this screen. And I just want it to be a button like this that says, you know, I mean, I'm up for suggestions, but I think I just want to say hardcore mode on it. And then when people hover over it, it'll basically tell them what to do. And what's going to do is it's going to make it so you cannot destroy bullets anymore, and you're going to lose some of your iframes. There's not going to be. It's going to be like a hardcore mode, but it's also going to grant double gem bonuses, so it will have some benefit. It'll make things easier for people to level up. And then on top of that, I wanted to do a hardcore stamp, which would be circular. Picture like taking a stamp and then stamping it onto an envelope, or like taking like a wax stamp and then just putting like a stamp on something. And it'll be pretty small. I want it to stamp over the level. So I'll probably have it in the upper left-hand corner of each level and boss. So once you get to the checkpoint level 1, you'll get your stamp. And then when you come back to the vortex, it'll appear here. I might even have like a cool little sound effect. And I might have all these run at different times. So like when you have them all unlocked, when you open the vortex, it might go like kind of to give it that really cool like just to let the player know that they've accomplished something. So then hopefully completionists might get addicted to like trying to get their hardcore stamps on every single level. And it's going to be wicked tough, because the game was developed with all the invincibility and destroying the bullets. So, this mode's going to take all those people that were complaining about the game being too easy, and it's just going to whoop them up real hard, I hope. And hopefully they'll get what they want. They'll get a game, and they'll get a game that's much tougher for them, but they'll also be rewarded with more upgrade potential. And when they finally complete the level, they'll get rewarded with a nice little stamp, which will give the completionist something that they can visually see. All right, man, I'm going to work on getting some of this stuff drawn up and scanned in, and then I'll give you some stuff scanned and emailed to you. But this will be a great jumping off point. Let me know what you think. All right, bud? Bye.